All right. So, as I'm sure you read from the title, we're just going to be talking about Sanby today. Uh, just her teams, her builds, and her gameplay style, and all that kind of stuff. Nothing too in depth. Um, I'm not like YouTube isn't my full time, and Zenless Zone Zero isn't my full time. So, in terms of like what I can bring to the table, it's not much. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know from bigger YouTubers who've already covered all this stuff. People who play this game a lot more than I do, who understand these things a lot better than I do. I don't spend time labbing things out or doing big old charts and stuff like that. And I do make use of that stuff sometimes. I don't go too in depth into it, but this game isn't super complicated, right? It's not. You're playing a gotcha. It's not supposed to be rocket science, right? Um, as long as you have a general understanding of how gotchas work, how to gear, and all that kind of stuff, it all ends up kind of being very similar. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Sanby, her kit, her teams, just kind of overview about certain things regarding her and her playstyle and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, because I'm not a big channel, I'm not going to tell you something you don't already know. So it's just kind of from a different perspective. Um, but yeah, so here's my stats. You guys saw this in the Deadly Assault practice run. Depending on how long I take babbling here, I might show another run um, where I've gotten it mastered down a little better, so you guys can see a better showcase of her. But yeah, so ignore this attack stat. It's kind of artificially inflated, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Her crit rate, it could be a little higher. We'll look at the gear I have and we'll see. But her crit damage, I'm like one crit damage roll off of having the crit damage where I want it to be, because you kind of want to hit 210. So 210 crit damage and somewhere between 65-ish, maybe 70 crit rate is what you want. But otherwise, this is basically it. This is your main three stats. She doesn't need impact, anomaly, none of this other stuff. You can run a pen ratio build if you don't have trigger and if you don't have her weapon. Pen Sanby is actually pretty good, but for now we'll just not worry about that. Yeah, these are all her things. You don't actually need to upgrade this at all. You could leave this at 1, but I threw some in there because she was the first unit that I got. So in terms of her skills, you don't need to upgrade all of them. She does a lot of basic attacks, so you kind of need to upgrade this. Her dodge counter is really the main thing you need to be using, so this is an important one. Obviously, most of her damage also comes from these two, so you kind of, this increases your Thunder Smite, which is the most important part of her kit. And then her ult is her ult. Obviously, you're not gonna just not upgrade her ult, right? So, as a damage dealer, she takes a lot of skill priority investment, so she uses up a lot of your little hamster wheels or whatever they're called. I don't remember. So here's the build. Ideally, going back to the stats for a moment, ideally, this game, as well as most gotchas like Genshin or Wuthering Waves and that kind of thing, is your crit rate. You kind of want it to be half of your crit damage, so a 2-to-1 ratio. So if I have 55 crit rate, my crit damage needs to be around 100 or more. With Sanby, you want to just dump more into crit damage. Her ratio is a little more skewed. You kind of want to hit somewhere between like a 3-to-1 ratio, because she gives out 25% of her crit damage to other what's it called, aftershock units on your team. So that's why her stats are a little more skewed, which reflects in her build a little bit. Obviously, Shadow Harmony is what you're going to go with her. It's the best set. There's nothing else competes with it. The two piece is kind of where you can think about what you want to put on her. You can run two piece. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Woodpecker. You can run this if you want. It's not good, but it's also not bad. It just is. As long as you hit the crit stats that you want, go for it. Right? Do whatever you want to do. For me, crit damage, Branch and Blade Song gets me get closer to the stats I want. But there's also something to be considered in terms of, this is a whole needless conversation here, but there's something you have to consider is where you're using your stamina. Because the Shadow Harmony came with oh no, not Shadow Harmony. Because this here comes with Astral Voice, and you need a lot of Astral Voice for all your support units and all that kind of stuff, and just even some stunners use it. It's actually better to grind that out. So instead of wasting, let's go back in there, I guess. Instead of wasting time grinding out, let's go in here, blah, 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 shut up, go away. Instead of wasting time grinding out, because again, all your stamina, you have to be very stamina efficient. So would you rather grind this out where you get crit damage, which is, applicable to almost every unit in the game? Like if your unit if a unit needs this, Woodpecker Electro, that unit, he or she can also use this. You just have to move your stats around a little bit more. But yeah, so I'd rather grind this out, waste stamina on this, getting these 2 sets, than grinding this out just to get this set, and possibly this set that no one in their entire life is ever going to use. I mean, some unit might use this in the future, but you know what I mean? So just a quick thought on helping you guys understand that, like, your stamina is precious, so you have to really know what you're using it on. So, yeah. Unfortunately, one of the things that's kind of annoying is that these 3 sets that have just been, like, grinding out disc sets is a lot worse back then, before 2.0. After 2.0, it's actually a lot better. This set comes with these 2, and most units can use these. Obviously, these sets are kind of specific. But this one's also really good because Yishuan. So I guess maybe the point I'm trying to make is I got really lucky because I have Yishuan, so I use this. Most stunners use this now, so I'm pretty lucky that I can grind both of these out at once. I like Sanby. A lot of anomaly units can use this set, so I got lucky there. So I don't know. I guess I'm just showing off, but it wasn't my intention. The point is, you have to know your account, and you have to know what's optimal for you to farm. So, Branch and Blade Song 2-piece is kind of what it ended up with her on her. And again, I'm just going to kind of show you guys the stats a little bit, given you guys have already seen these builds on the other video. This is obviously missing crit chance, so there's a lot of room for improvement on her. This doesn't have, very many good stats down here. It just has 2 crit damage. This is hard to replace, and I'll talk about this now, why, and this is actually a really good one. I'll talk about this now, why I'm running this. For one, it's just because the only other electric damage one is this, and there's still not very many good stats on this. But for now, it's not too bad, because the issue being that her teams that I run her with don't give out much attack percentage, right? She doesn't saturate that stat, so I can run 2 attack pieces here because I get so much of the other stats everywhere else. Now, I want to stress here that damage percentage and electro damage bonus are not the same thing. They affect the calculation differently, I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked into it exactly, but I'm pretty sure they're not exactly the same. But for our intents and purposes, we can kind of look at them slightly the same. Not because they are similar, but because they're both not attack percentage, right? Damage boost, like this. This isn't an attack increase. Electro damage is also not an attack increase. So because they're not attack increases, I'm looking at them the same way in this instance, where it's like, my Sanby team does not get a lot of attack bonuses, right? Her weapon gives her crit damage here, crit damage here, crit damage here, and electric damage here. Trigger, her main support, gives her crit damage from this set, plus defense shred from this. Then, let's go over here. 35% damage bonus from this, plus, and this doesn't have to be Nicole, it can be Lucy. Nicole gives out 40% defense shred. Another 24% from this. 15 to whatever, this can be 24 if you have it max ranked or whatever. So this basically the point is she's getting a lot of damage bonus, but there's not a lot of attack on her. So this attack theoretically should scale better with so many bonuses, but I haven't done the math. The point being that electric damage bonus would be great, but it's not going to be such a big improvement over attack percentage because of how many bonuses I have. Now, if I find an electric damage bonus disc that has electric damage bonus here, attack percentage here instead of this, whatever, and then I found ways to stack attack percentage on her from other sources, that would be ideal, right? But the point I'm trying to make is just that it's not that big a difference between attack percentage and electric damage because there's no other sources of attack percentage on her. If I'm running her with Astra, then I'd want to run electric damage bonus here because that's just dumping so much attack onto her, right? So that's kind of the main point I wanted to make there. What else? But yeah, that's kind of it in terms of showing off what she looks like, her stats and all that kind of stuff. I also wanted to talk a little bit about like her teams and her synergies. It's obviously no secret. I mean, we all know that Sanby is incredibly field hungry. Like she's really greedy for time on field. And the point I'm stressing about that is because you have to obviously find a team that supports that. When she came out, I think it was her. Obviously, it was Polkra, and I think Lucy was on that banner too. I'm not sure. She might have been. I can't remember who else would have been if it's not Lucy. But it might have been. It might have been her. I don't think it was her though. But anyway, the point being that these three are actually pretty good together. But anyway, the point being, there's only so many units that can run with Sanby because of how field greedy she is. Obviously, when Sanby was released, we all saw how kind of underwhelming she was because she just didn't have the multiplier, she didn't have the teammates, she just didn't, she doesn't showcase herself well enough on her own. People thought that adding Trigger to the mix would even things out and really bring Sanby up to where she needed to be. But even at the time, I kind of knew that Sanby wasn't going to bring her up because Trigger's multipliers, and now in practice, now that I know, her multipliers, no matter how much damage you try to put on Trigger, she's never going to do very much damage. Like, it's always just going to be terrible damage that she does. So the point being that Sanby is still incomplete, as kind of sad as it is to say. After playing her for a while, I've kind of realized, since she came out, I kind of realized that she was released as kind of a half of a unit. She is here for support, but she doesn't complete Sanby's damage. That's the problem. You can dump a lot of, like, you can go Sanby into her, into, like, Astra Yao, and then you're dumping a bunch of bonuses into Sanby. But Sanby doesn't have the multipliers needed to really magnify those boosts, right? If you take something like Miyabi, when you dump things into her, like boosts and stat bonuses and all this other stuff, she multiplies them and you get way more return on investment. Sanby acts like a bottleneck. You can kind of, like, if you look at this little picture up here, it's like a filter. I mean, that's what it is, right? It's like a funnel. Sanby's kind of like this funnel. You dump water in there, and the rate, because the funnel's so small at the other end, the rate comes out. If you get a bunch more water and you dump like a huge gallon in there, the rate is going to increase slightly. Obviously, like if you give Sanby Trigger plus Astra Yao, it's going to increase her damage a lot. But because she's a bottleneck, you're not being efficient, and the rate is increasing, but not at the rate someone else would increase that with, right? So the point I'm trying to make is that Sanby isn't designed for you to just dump a bunch of buffs onto her. She's designed to be part of another team, another attacker team, which is what I'm sure you've come to realize it now, is Orpheus or Seed. It's looking more like Orpheus is going to be the main kind of Sanby assistant. But from what it looks like, some of Seed's abilities and all her kind of whatever might synergize with Sanby a little bit. So that's pretty cool. But I'm just going to kind of focus on Orpheus from now because we know more about Orpheus and her kit and how that works and whatever. But yeah, so the thing with Sanby is she needs another attacker to complete her damage. I'm going to make a prediction here and say that Sanby plus Trigger plus Orpheus, that 3-person team, best in slot for each other, is probably going to outscale Miyabi's current best team. And that's going to upset some people in terms of, like, if that happens. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't have the creator server. I don't have the beta test server, so I can't really tell you with any certainty. But I feel like that's kind of what they want to do is with her best team with the other unit with Orphe is going to be better than Miyabi. And I want to kind of express why that's not such a bad thing and there's nothing to worry about. The reason it's not such a big deal is because Sanby needs these 3 people together to be as strong as she is to surpass Miyabi's limits, right? If she does, right? We're just assuming that this is going to happen. It might not end up happening, so no one has to freak out in that case if it doesn't happen, But I think it will surpass her. But the reason you don't have to worry about it is because Miyabi doesn't have a team built around her and the way she works. Astra Yao obviously helps her. She dumps a lot of stats into her, and obviously Miyabi magnifies them. Here's another example. But, like, she's not tailor-made for Miyabi. She gives out chain attacks, which again are designed more for Evelyn, who can capitalize on them. But the point being that Astra Yao is just a good support in general. She's not tailor designed to make Miyabi better. Let's go look at some more units. Like, take Lighter. Lighter is a great buffer for fire and ice. Miyabi can take advantage of those buffs because she's ice, but Lighter is not designed specifically for Miyabi, right? Where's more examples? Lycone and Sokaku, they're the exact same thing. Lycone is great for ice units, but he's not designed for Miyabi. So the reason I'm repeating this and stressing the point again, Sokaku's a great ice support, but she's not designed for Miyabi. The reason I'm stressing all these things is to just let you know that we don't know Miyabi's full potential now because she doesn't have units custom tailored to make her shine. So the point I'm saying is that if Sanby comes out and Orpheus comes out and they end up surpassing Miyabi, that just means that Miyabi's peak is still coming. It's still not here yet. So when they start designing units custom tailored to Miyabi and her kit and how she works, then we'll see her rise up again over that. So there's really no reason to stress out if you went for M6 Miyabi. We still don't know her potential yet. Not to mention, Miyabi's actually just usable with anybody. Like, if you want to use Miyabi, Evelyn, I'm sure that team would work. Miyabi, Evelyn, Astra, I'm sure that works. Miyabi with, obviously, Yanagi or basically anybody. Like, anybody you want to use Miyabi with, she'll work. You can't do the same thing with Sanby. Sanby's locked to her own teams to be effective. So, again, there's really no reason to stress out about Miyabi, quote-unquote, falling off, right? She's still going to be the best unit in the game because of her flexibility and how much she magnifies any buffs you give her. Again, all we got to do is just kind of wait a little bit for Miyabi's custom-tailored units to come out, and then she's just going to go through the roof again, right? And she'll be back on top, right? That's kind of what I just want to... I know a lot of people are panicking right now because the Jane, Yuzuha, Alice team... apparently, I haven't tested it myself. Obviously, I can't, but I've seen a few things. But apparently, Alice M2, Yuzuha M2, and Jane M2 surpasses any combination of Miyabi M6 plus her M6 teammates on anything in terms of power level. So they're kind of freaking out, like, oh, Miyabi's falling off, whatever. Again, the point is that these are tailor-made for each other. She was tailor-made to be with her, and she was tailor-made to be with her in terms of the way she crits her assaults and all that kind of stuff, and the way all that, triggering disorder and all that stuff works. So they're all kind of tailor-made for each other, but they don't work well with anyone else. Miyabi, again, maybe she's a little weaker than them, but she doesn't have anything tailor-made to her, so don't stress out about that. So I guess as closing thoughts, I'm going to talk a little bit about Sanby's teams and what she has going on. What I think... some good teams. Obviously, this is a great partner. She's kind of like Trigger, but she needs you to be a little more active. Obviously, Rina isn't too bad, but you have to kind of... If you don't have Trigger's signature weapon, Rina becomes way better, because then you can kind of run like a pen ratio Sanby or something like that. But as it is now, it's hard to... You don't really want to mix Def Shred with pen ratio, so I don't use them together. But if you didn't have her weapon, that'd be fantastic, I think. Lucy's another good example where Lucy comes on field, does her EX special, her buff stays up for like 10 seconds. If you EX special in between that, it refreshes a little bit of the buff. So it can kind of go on for a while, and you don't have to worry about that. Plus, she gives out attack percentage, well, she gives out attack percentage with her W engine. I think about 14? Yeah, something like that, 14% if you have it at max refinement. And she gives out energy with her ult, I think. I don't remember which one it was. But yeah, so she's not bad. She just, again, she involves a little more time on field than I would like. Who else would be decent? I'm going to go into Nicole in a little bit, but obviously if you have Astria, go ahead and use her. Caesar wouldn't be too bad. She takes up a little more field time than I would like. But the reason I like Nicole is literally just a turnkey solution. She swaps in EX specials or ults and then swaps out immediately. That's all. Swap in, one button, leaves, gone. Quick assist out. That's what I like about her. And not to mention her buffs are also pretty insane. 25% from Trigger's weapon. 25% Def Shred from Trigger's weapon. Right here. It stacks additively with the 40% shred that she has. So whenever her bubble hits somebody and the def shred is active from her core skill, that's a 65% defense shred. It goes even higher if you have more refinements on your spectral gaze or whatever. I think that's what it's called. Triggers weapon. Oh, I remembered it. Spectral gaze. So it goes even higher if you have more refinements on that. But for now, that's good enough. So not only does she give out 40% defense shred, she's a one button just quick assist that you swap in. Additionally, she also gives out another 24 at max if you max this out. Plus, she gives out another 24 from this set because of how many quick assists you swap in and out. Especially if you max refine this, you have more energy, which means more bubbles, which means more quick assists, right? So you just keep those buffs up a lot faster. And then, not to mention her final thing here is 15% crit chance at the end. So everything Lucy does is great for Sanby, except of course we're losing this 25% damage bonus, but it is what it is, right? There really isn't anyone perfect in that sense for that. But yeah, so that's kind of why I run her is just she takes up the minimal amount of field time while having the biggest impact on your DPS as possible, right? And I like swapping between her and Nicole. Plus, I don't know, I like pink, just any kind of pink, really. But yeah, that's kind of the main part. What else is I gonna go over? Yeah, that was basically everything. So yeah, for anybody worried about Miyabi, it's fine. For anybody who likes Sanby, I think when Orpheus gets added to the game, we're really going to see Sanby just skyrocket in terms of her potential and power and just ability to melt through some of these bosses. It is kind of irritating that Orpheus is fire. I think, personally, I would have liked an ice one. But the reason I'm worried about fire is because, again, Sanby's kind of half a unit, so she's half of her damage is going to be from her, and the other half is probably going to be from Orphe. The only reason it's kind of like is because usually when someone's electric resistant, they're also fire resistant, or the other way around where it's like, oh, there's fire weak, but now they're electric resistant. So it's kind of like, there's no perfect scenario for them anymore. Now you just have to find an electric guy. But I said we'll see how those buffs come in. They should be strong enough that they won't really care about the buffs or debuffs, the way Miyabi doesn't care about them. But yeah, so that's kind of the main thing I wanted to go over is just analyzing what Sanby does. The last thing I'll say about Sanby is keep in mind, I know it's, at least for me, when you guys saw the video of me showcasing the first run of my the marionettes clear, I died, obviously, but it just goes to show you how clumsy you can be and still pass that without being super, like, again, this is free to play. The only person that's not free to play is her. So whenever you see this showcase, well, then obviously I won't be able to say anything. But this was free to play, and this is just over time. You can get up to that skill level. It's not that hard. But the one thing I will say, you might have seen in that video, I parried a few times. Do not parry with Sanby. The reason I say that is because no unit in the game, in this entire game, him or anyone you would pair with Sanby, I don't know, does she have a parry? She might have a parry. But anyway, any unit that you would pair with Sanby, I forgot you could pair her with her. But yeah, she gives out a few buffs. I don't know her kit, but I don't really care. Yeah, I just don't care. Plus double stun. You can run double stun on her, and it would be it's actually insane because I've run her before with these two. I don't run it now because I need her for another team. But anyway, back to what I was saying is you don't really want to parry. There's no unit in this game whose parry will get you more benefits than Sanby's dodge counter, because Sanby's dodge counter gets you halfway to your Thunder Smite or whatever. I should know these names better, but I don't really care about the names. Thunder Smite, yeah. So she gets you halfway through a Thunder Smite. Dodge counter is always better on her, except for when you're fighting Miasma. When you're fighting Miasma, she does like that chain parry thing, chain defense assist that you have to do. Do it then, because you want to get that shield off as soon as possible. So don't hold back there. Just parry that. But in terms of general gameplay, whenever you're fighting anything else, you never want to parry, because the parry doesn't get you anything. There's like if you're running like this guy in a Jane team, you want to parry with him every so often because he gives Jane the quick assist with the shield. He gives her the 100% anomaly buff, and then if you're running him on this, it gives her the and then the defensive assist also gives her a damage bonus, right? So you want to do that every so often. There is no teammate in this game that gives Sanby any benefit that's better than her dodge counter, right? Getting that Thunder Smite. So in general, don't worry about the parry. Just always dodge, and you need to get those timings down a lot better, right? So when when I showcase the full completed, like the high score I can get on that boss run, I think I'll showcase a run where there's no parrying whatsoever, just because, again, this is a better run than last time. I think you guys saw me hit like 22 or 24. I don't remember, but I hit 30,000. I've been practicing it. I like to get better at them. There's no reason to get better at them, but I like to anyway. Just because it's the only fun content to do, right? Once you hit the end game, there's really nothing else to do in this game. But the point being that, yeah, whenever you're playing with Sanby, that's something you have to uncondition yourself to do. Is there's no reason to parry ever, just because her dodge counter is so much more useful. So if there's any tip I can give you, is realize when you're parrying and stop, cut it out. Not only that, but the other thing is evasive assists don't actually help either, unless you're running her, because she actually needs evasive assist to get her thing off a lot more conveniently. But that also makes it easier to run her with Sanby, because again, Sanby's not parrying, so she's not wasting any assist points, and all of them, she can use up all the assist points that she wants, right? So that's kind of what is important to realize about that. What else? But yeah, that's basically everything there is to know about Sanby. Just dodge counter, get your stacks up, press your EX special a bunch of times. One thing that I will say when you're running her with Nicole, and you might see this in the better run of my marionette clear, is don't worry. Like, you want to swap in Nicole as much as you can, but don't worry about swapping her in for every single Thunder Smite. So if you dodge twice, then you get a Thunder Smite available. Don't worry about swapping into Nicole. If she has the energy, swap into her by all means. But save Nicole for when you have charged EX specials with Sanby. Whenever you have enough EX. Well, your Thunder Smite's a different thing. So whenever you have EX special up, that's when you want to swap into Nicole to get that bubble up. Again, if she can, my problem is that my Nicole doesn't have enough energy regen to keep up with every single Thunder Smite that Sanby does have. But she does have enough to keep up with every single EX special into Thunder Smite that she has. And it's even better if you get, like, if Nicole's timing is good enough, do 2 dodge counters, get the Thunder Smite. If you notice Nicole's available, swap over to her, EX special, Thunder Smite, do the triple dash Thunder Smite, EX special, and then triple dash Thunder Smite again. And that's like, that's your bread and butter basically right there. So that's kind of when you want to use her every single time. Is only worry about her when your EX special is up, because you're going to get like 2 or 3 Thunder Smites before her EX special charges. And if you're sitting around waiting to trigger those Thunder Smites, that's one of my issues that you might have seen in the gameplay, was that they'll have three stacks on them so I can Thunder Smite, but I'm waiting for Nicole's EX special to charge to swap her in. Don't worry about that. Just launch them, because you'll have another one by the time she has EX special up again anyway, right? So the biggest advice I can tell you is there's no reason to defensive assist with anybody, do anything other than dodge counter with her. Of course, basic attacks, do all your other stuff, normal gameplay. Just don't worry about defensive assist on her. But yeah, so hopefully that taught somebody something and gave you guys some perspective on her and what's coming for her in the future. Yeah, till next time.